Who are the coolest dudes on the planet?
United States veterans.
What's the coolest sport on the planet?
Pro wrestling.
And what would be the coolest podcast on the planet? That would be this one.
U.S. military vets talking pro wrestling.
This is the No Shave Man Cave. Two badass disabled vets sharing their love of pro wrestling, giving you their perspective as fans, talking about current events and matches, history of titles, and who knows what else. Let's do it.
Welcome to the No Shave Men Cave. Now your hosts, Ellie Jair and Jay Tilley.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. However you identify, you have found yourself in the No Shave Man Cave. I'm Ellie Jair.
Hey, I'm Jay Tilley.
Yes, sir. And we are here to reminisce, to talk, to pontificate about AEW Dynamite. Whew. Dude, JT, talk to me, Goose.
Man, it was an interesting go-home show. I think it was not nearly one of the best Dynamites I've seen. There were some parts that I could have gone without, but on the same side, there were some peak, high-level, top-tier, this is why I watch AEW stuff in. Then there was the complete opposite of it on some of the other stuff, where I'm like, this is some carny bullshit, like, dumb, I don't understand why they made these decision things. So... Yeah, I'm interested to go through it with you, especially because as you're having that more critical eye on AEW now, I'm curious to hear what your highlights and lowlights were, because I'm curious if they line up with mine, or and I don't mean this as an insult, or if your WWE brain maybe had you enjoy some of the stuff that I just went, oh, why are they doing this? This is stupid.
Yeah, my WWE brain was alive and well during the first 27 minutes of the show. And then I'm not sure what occurred specifically, and it wasn't on TV. I think I got a text or something that occurred. Oh, there was a really bad accident, so I heard a helicopter. So I paused, and then when I came back,
Squirrel.
I was like, oh, I'm watching AEW. Let's go. And I almost forgot what I had just watched. In the sense of, I wasn't watching wrestling, I was watching sports entertainment. Right. And then when I sat back down, I'm like, oh, I'm watching a wrestling show, let's go. And and this afternoon I sat down and watched the first like 35 minutes of the show, because that I needed to kind of reset my brain.
Yep.
And it absolutely sports entertainment, the first portion of the show. I really miss Jericho when he's not on commentary, but the show in and of itself, once I was like, okay, I'm watching an AEW product, I'm, outside of, a little bit of color, if you will, outside of that, but it made sense. And
yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm not going to throw up. I won't even gag. I'll be a man about it, but
he was gushing
dude,
too.
And the madder he got, bro.
I swear he was like flexing or something to push it out.
Yeah. It was that. And one of the things that I was when I was reading through like what all the talking heads were talking about and stuff, I don't want to refer to them as dirt sheets anymore, but some of the referencers and the talking heads of professional wrestling, the reporters or the journalists, I don't want to see Jericho every week.
Nope.
Because he's freaking Jericho. He's the Ocho. I don't need to see him every week. I don't need to see the world champion. I would like to see that beautiful title every week, but since we get to do the show 3 times a week, 4 times a week, I get to see, that big beautiful belt that MJF gets to carry around because she's sitting over your shoulder. But I think it's special. It's different. It's not like the others. So when I want Mox to do what he's going to do, because he's fantastic. He was the professional wrestler of the year for a reason. He was the PWI wrestler of the year for a reason. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't need to be the PWI bleeder of the year, because that's not what AEW needs. That's not what he needs. And he was, and before anyone even said this, I was like, man, he's starting to remind me of, and this is a very, very positive light to, he's starting to remind me of Bruiser Brody, Kamala, and the Butcher, because he's bleeding literally every week, and you're like, okay, Mox is on, there's going to be blood, I know what I'm getting, but I don't necessarily think that that's what John should be, or Mox should be doing, because that, I don't sign his paycheck. I might be able to help with the pennies part, but I'm sure he's being paid well for his craft. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think so it's funny because I am aligned with that. I agree that the blood became a little gratuitous. However, this promo that Mox cut, this promo that Mox cut on Wednesday Night Dynamite made me feel again for the juice, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, and this is another one of those unbelievable details of AEW, because I remember when Dynamite ended last week, we're all like, why did Mox juice like right at the end? Like, that was stupid. He didn't need to do that. Oh my God, it's because they were going to cut this amazing promo right after the match where he's gushing blood. Like, the fact that they thought, and yes, I know, wrestling you think months, years even in advance when you're doing your planning and you're setting up. But to juice the week prior so you can cut that promo right after that you're going to air the next week. Oh, it's genius.
Yeah.
And just the visceral of it in his eye, and you can't see his eye, and dripping all over his face. And then when they pan down to the floor and it's all over the floor, I was like, oh my God, like that's what it should feel like when they juice it. And it almost became like, okay, Mox is going to bleed. This was the one time I was like, holy shit, like Mox is going to pass out. Like, but the other scary thing is, what the hell are they going to do to each other at the Texas Death Match?
Right.
Like, hopefully you're about 8 bourbons in by then, or otherwise you might just be done.
I may have to go in your kitchen and clean up the kitchen or do dishes or whatever. Just kind of a funny thing. I look at everything, if it's not in its correct place in the industry or the business line that we work in, everything has a place and every place has a thing. And I just kind of refer to it as a kitchen, and I walk in and do dishes and straighten up, and that's just kind of my jam. But like you said, it made sense for what was going on in the show and the story that it was telling. And I harken back to the days of the promos, and I don't want to put the promo on the same 40-year-old virgin pedestal, but that promo, I personally think that it's for the promos that we've seen this year, it's definitely on par with some of those promos, because he was telling you, he told you what he was going to tell you, then he told you, and then he told you what he told you, and it was just like, dude, that is no joke. And here's all these other people getting their flowers.
Yeah.
But he's going through the exact same thing.
Yep.
But it's, it's Mox, it's fine. No. Mox deserves to be on that pedestal for AEW, especially because, there was that very tough time, and, a lot of characters had to come off of TV, and some of them are not back on, and, Cody's gone. Punk, for all intents and purposes, is gone right now. Omega and the Bucks are in a different storyline that's not as loud or pronounced. And just shout out to the shout out for Mox, man. blood and all. I loved it, especially as he started talking, and then the like that lucha underground kind of like B film, like
Yeah.
not grimy. I don't just the unproduced filming of it. Whoever was holding the camera, if you have a buy me coffee or buymeabourbon.com, I'm in, because totally hook, line, and sinker. That match is the match that I want to see, and I hope it opens the show, because it's going to be a banger.
Yeah. It's funny you said the thing about the promo and Mox in general. I remember during the pandemic, some of the promos he cut during the pandemic, and there's all the talk about Omega and the Young Bucks and their contract status, and are they going to leave or are they not going to leave? And some people's opinions are Omega's going to leave and AEW's going to crash down. I don't know, man. Mox has carried that company on his shoulders a lot. He carried them through the pandemic. He was the champion through the pandemic, cutting those promos about, make sure you call your grandma, make sure she's okay. Like some of the promos he cut during the pandemic. And then, you alluded to Brawl Out and the stuff where the Punk, well, even we'll get to that in 1 minute. When Omega went off TV, he got injured. Mox carried that kind of became the guy again. Then Brawl Out happened. The poor guy's supposed to go on vacation to spend time with Renee and their family and his new baby. And here it is. This happened, whatever it was. I've truly enjoyed Kenny Omega's take on it. If you listen to him on the sessions with Renee Paquette.
Oh my God.
That was a
Shout
great.
out to, dude, that was like, bring a caller number one. Thanks for calling into the No Shave Man Cave. What question you got for us? We're here for it. Yeah, I had this question, what do you think about, blah, blah, blah. The way they answered, the way they communicated, the way they exchanged feelings and thoughts, that was, and I've listened to sessions probably, 30 times. That was probably the best sessions I've heard. And not that I'm not a Kenny Omega fan, because he carries the most beautiful title on the planet, the New Japan, the United States title. But that interview and her
amazing
style and the information that he shared has never been shared anywhere else. And granted, there's some legal stuff that they couldn't get into it, but
Right.
But when he said, "Yeah, the poopy part," I was like, how many other people could get the technical wrestler of the year to say poopy?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
It was a great set. Matter of fact, I've got some thoughts on that too, that maybe if we have time at the end of this podcast, we can kind of review the sessions talk. Cause there were some things, I found very interesting in that interview with him on some hints at maybe some of the talks that could be coming up anyway.
Yeah.
But that being said, so he refers to that in the sessions thing, but so the Bucks, CM Punk and Omega go out again now, and Mox has to take the title again and runs his program, and now he's carrying the company again. I just think if they were to leave, I think you lean on Mox and Hangman and those guys that are left, and I think AEW would be just fine. So Eddie Kingston is really good at making you think he doesn't understand that wrestling is fake. Sorry, I don't like saying the F word. He makes you believe that wrestling is not scripted.
The 4-letter word?
Man,
Sir,
I did it. I slipped it up. I didn't mean to. But I'm going to beep it out too. Watch. I'm going to go in.
Jesus.
Beep. I'm going to go into edit and I'm going to beep it. No, Eddie Kingston.
You better not say that. Yes, sir.
But he's so good at making you believe that he believes that everything that's happening is legit and real, and he doesn't understand why the cameras and interruptions all that. Mox is the same way. Mox cut that promo with the blood on his face, and he looked so angry, so passionate, and I'm like, holy crap, like, he's not lying. I would not want to walk into a dark alley with him. And I've been into some dark alleys and done some dark things, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, 100%. We used to do, when we were deployed, we were going through in the Marine Corps, candidly, we referred to it as Semper Fu, and it was the Marine Corps Martial Arts program, and we would go into what we called our snap and tap room, and we had some bad dudes that I did not want to go into the snap and tap room, and I would say Mox is definitely up there with. I could probably get him to move and roll the way I wanted him to, but he would prefer it to snap, vice
Yep.
tap. So, and he wouldn't do like the snarky smile like my New Jersey girl Liv would do. He would go out cold, bleed out, whatever it would be. Just oh man, I don't I'm trying to think of the words, and I'm just at a loss, like professional wrestlers, sports entertainers, whatever, they don't qualify to go to the Academy Awards. They're not allowed to go and accept a Grammy. John Cena hosted the ESPYs. I think I think there's been a couple of wrestlers that have received ESPYs for sports moments, but it's a real thing. Sports is real. But I tell you, man, Mox is on a whole other level. Omega, when he's in the ring, just a complete other level. And then, you put a mic and a camera in front of Kingston, and you seriously feel like you are on a crisis hotline, and every single phone call that you would get from Eddie Kingston is a 911 call because he is dialed in. Every promo that he cuts, every move he makes is so just like emotionally charged. And when he dropped, during the battle royal, or the casino battle royal, when he dropped that ladder on Old Boy, I was like, that's coming
Yeah.
back. There's going to be a receipt involved with that Mamma Jamma. That's not going. That's not going to go away. That's going to come back. That's going to come back and haunt him. Or
You saw the digital exclusive where he quit, right?
yeah.
I know it's because he's going to Ring of Honor, which is fine, but I was like, man, like it sucks. I wanted to see him do so much more.
No, man. I think legit. I think he's done.
Do you think he's done with AEW?
I think he is done. I think he'll pop up in a PCW. He'll pop up in the what's the Tri-State Wrestling where Tommy Dreamer had to give the title back. I'll find it. And some of the CCW. I think he wants to get back to his roots, kind of a thing. He might be going through. No, I'm kidding. I think he's gonna. I think he's going to be a pillar for the new Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I think Briscoe is going to be a pillar,
Yep.
and I think there's some serious money to be made with a lot of the wrestlers that are on the Ring of Honor roster, and some wrestlers that are kind of out in the abyss that maybe they're disenchanted with the WWE, NXT. I think the reboot of Ring of Honor, as long as the producers and creative allow them to stay ROH, you know what I mean? I think that's going to be awesome. And I've seen some of the excerpts from the most recent recordings, and I'm super impressed with some of the folks that they brought in from the New Japan roster, from the Indies, from AEW, from Ring of Honor. I'm excited, and I wish there was a way, kind of in like with college sports, they hop into the portal. I wish there was some way that they could, or with soccer, like when they do soccer, that they they do loans and they do, they move players
Right.
from La Liga to Euro to MLS, whatever. And, you're not doing anything with Dolph Ziggler. My man can cut a promo, has never had a bad match, is a NCAA collegiate wrestler, could really do some awesome stuff to build up the industry, to make wrestling better. Look at what Gable and Rhodes did. If that doesn't lift Gable up, put him on another show, put him on another roster, give him an opportunity to get some reps in. And yeah, man, this whole show, this whole AEW show, it didn't advance the storylines like some of the WWE shows that I'd reminisced about, but it didn't mess up the storylines. And considering the Ring of Honor reboot, I think there was a good showing, and outside of the Casino Royale camera angle production thing, I chimed Hobbs and said, "Hey, man, you're going to get some heat. That wasn't on you. You keep doing you. It was, in his stomping grounds. Good for you. Don't listen to the poo-poo. And don't even acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Don't even acknowledge it. Just I'm the number one contender. That's all you need to be concerned about."
You talking about the ladder at the end where you had a hard time getting down?
No, when he was going up and the damn referees were holding the ladder and the producers panned in.
Yeah.
Like, dog.
I didn't have a problem with that. Because if you watch the match, they did it all through the match. And so I thought I would have a problem with that, but the fact that ladder was so tore up and the referees, because to me, they have to climb the ladder to win. Because so it's funny. I had this argument in my head about that whole thing, and every ladder match you see the referees hold the ladder, like they do, especially on the outside.
With AEW, yeah.
Well, WWE too. They're just better at covering it up. They're better at covering up. Now, I will say in the ring, they don't as much.
That's the production thing, and not to bust your hump. And I don't mean to step on you, but
no,
that's
a
production thing. Just like when old boy was getting color, and the camera pans to him. Yep. Oh no, he's just checking to make sure he's not bleeding. That's what you had to, like if you were sitting with your kid or whatever. Meanwhile, he's just like slicing and dicing.
Yeah, and I agree. The production's bad, but the fact that in the logical thinking of the match, you have to use the ladder to win. It'd be different if the ladders were illegal and they were handing in the ladder or doing something with the ladder. But because you have to have the ladder to win, I was okay with that. It didn't bother me as much. I just was surprised at how tore up that ladder was, and he had the balls to go up it because when he trucked that ladder, he flipping destroyed it.
Yeah,
but I wasn't as upset about that as I thought. At first, I was, and then I just in my head logically, I'm like, well, you could justify it because they have to go up the ladder to win, and you want them to be safe, so it makes sense to hold the ladder for them. So I was okay with that. It didn't bother me as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, I'm still butthurt about it. Sorry.
No, that's fine, man. Like I said, in my mind, I logically made it make sense. Cool. So obviously, the Mox wasn't up for you. What else on the show did you like? So I started with WE, so I'm gonna let you start with this one. What other things were the positives for you? And then I'll kind of go through my highlights and the things that I thought were.
So I love wrestling. I love the history of it. When we were going to Forbidden Door, and you had the Tales of the Territory book when we were getting ready to leave. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I flip through that Mamma Jamma? I've read that book 3 times. I've watched the Tales of the Territory. I've watched every season of Dark Side of the Ring. I have been down with wrestling since I was 6 or 7, I think. So I mean, like what 8? I think it was 8, and like them being in the Cow Palace, and that used to be a mainstay for AWA. Vern Gagne, the Jerry Lawler carried that AWA world title. Like the the fact that they were in the Cow Palace, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I've driven past it. I've been up and down those highways in California. I was stationed in San Jose for a while, and we would go do training events, and we would go skiing and stuff in Reno and Tahoe and stuff. So we would drive by and we'd see it, and I was just like, man. So that part of it, and then to see Hobbs win it. He's a California guy. I'm like, dude, I bet he had no fewer than 24 people with him, and all of them got to see him win that match. And now imagine him against Samoa Joe or Wardlow for that title, for that TNT title. And I don't necessarily think you need to carry a title for a year for the title to make the man and the man to make the title. I think that title is beautiful, and the design and the idea of it is awesome. So the venue made the show for me. I'm like, oh shit, they're in the Cow Palace. Sorry about that, kids. Then, it opens up with a great match with another beautiful title on the line, the All Atlantic title, and that was the sports entertainment piece of it. So I was like, okay, we're gonna get into some sports entertainment. We're gonna bump around and some funny stuff. He hit him with the orange punch off the top rope and finally got the win. There were some great commercials, great promos. I was flipping through my phone and the Revolution stuff was popping off. And then they were talking more and more about the video game. And Chris Statlander, if you can hear my voice, please come back to us. The AEWites need you. And you're, boink. I just touched my nose. It was just a fun show. And the only thing that keeps me from giving it the ultimate 5 beards
really
was Jericho not being in commentary.
Okay.
And I like a title change.
Okay.
I think that's a lot of fun. And just hearing the crowd and knowing how big the Cow Palace is, I was really feeling the crowd. Jericho, he was fun in the whole thing. Seeing the Elite against, Malachi and all those guys in there. I was just feeling it.
No negatives on the show for you, really?
No.
Wow. See, I like, and I'll do the spoiler now. I rank this as the same as I did Raw, 3.5 beards. So I super enjoyed the opening match. I'm a huge Orange Cassidy fan.
Yeah.
I think he is very, I don't even want to say underrated, but he's so unique because he's got that comedy style with him, but yet he can go. He had some really good matches with Jericho, and then we were there live for the triple threat with Omega and Pac.
Yep.
And we thought he was going to get the championship then. So he's super
the chase,
entertaining.
Baby, the chase.
Oh man, he's great. And then him playing off Big Bill was fantastic. Super enjoyed that. Like, that was a highlight for me. The Mox promo, the Hangman response, both really good. Promo made me very hyped for the upcoming pay-per-view and their match, which I was hyped for to begin with, but that just kind of drove it home a little more. Like, I'm like, these guys are going to absolutely beat the shit out of each other. It's going to be amazing. I enjoyed most of the big brass ring match. I felt some of it was a little contrived, but but ladder matches are that way, right? They're always going to set up a spot more than go for the ladder. So I was okay. I forgave that.
I wish the producer. I wish the producer had a couple of wrestlers in the ring to walk through to say, okay, here's what's going to happen when this person does this. Here's I need you to be right here. Put a piece of blue tape or whatever the hell you need to do. I need you to be right here, because you could see, like, as they would turn and they would like, hey, you need to come. It was like watching Lita.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh shoot, I forgot I'm not with my band in Mexico or wherever
Right.
she was playing. And these are top tier athletes, and laying their bodies on the line, the Guevaras, and dive bombing on the ladders, and they're trying to win an opportunity and trying to impress and entertain us. So I don't want to be like a total a-hole about it.
Well,
So you admit you're a b-hole? But I think, man, I just, like, the only part of the show that I did not like was the Hardy and Hook match.
yeah.
And I don't know what I was expecting, because I just, like, Hook to me needs a reset, and Hardy
Absolutely.
needs
to
to
go away.
wait till his brother is, fit for duty. And I don't know what else to say. Like, I like Ethan, and I like that whole tribe,
Yep.
that stable. But dude, like, outside of that, the show, the atmosphere, the action in the ring, I felt like they gave more time to the women too, so that was good. That was a good match and a lot of fun,
so-
lot of exchange.
Yeah, like I said, the ladder match was amazing. Some of the spots in that ladder match were unflippin' believable, man. Takeshita with that Blue Thunder driver off the top of that ladder.
Yeah.
The Death Valley driver onto the ladder from Hobbs to AR Fox, and then that running the commando and his running across the ropes jump, and that shooting spot. Like, there were so many, and then Sammy Guevara on that huge ass ladder doing that moonsault. There was just some really, really great stuff in it.
Yeah.
So that was a highlight for me. The Mox thing, the Orange Cassidy, and that was it. Those are like the only things that stuck out in my head as far as, like, man, this is AEW quality that I like.
Wow.
I thought I'm right there with you, the Hook and Hardy thing. I thought it was garbage. They definitely need to reheat Hook somehow. I was almost wishing Hardy would win, and then they would ship Hook off to Ring of Honor. They could still ship him off to Ring of Honor,
Right.
but he needs a reboot. The tag team taking the best friends out to put Danhausen and Orange Cassidy in was garbage.
Dude, I was just like, why? Okay, so, and not to compare apples and oranges and that whole thing, but, like, why are you going to waste all this time to invest in a storyline just to dump it? And so now you're rolling into their second largest pay-per-view, and they've got this hodgepodge team together. Okay, fine. Danhausen, you're selling some T-shirts.
That's why right there.
You've got this, you're going to hit me with the curse or whatever. Hey, man, keep that on the comedy side. There's enough TV time for all of that. And, I'm getting frustrated. So, like, why?
I didn't mean to ruin the show for you.
No, I mean, it was still one of the better, like, match.
I can give you the why. Like, to me, the why is because you want to put Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, two of your top stars, on the pay-per-view when they didn't have anything. But, like, basically you're saying that you still want the best friends in it. And I think the Revolution match is going to be just a big comedy match anyway. I mean, because think about the teams in it. None of them are real. None of them are the FTR or the Bucks. So
Right.
it's going to be this joke of a match that the Acclaimed, I would assume, are going to win. Maybe they'll give it to Jarrett and Lethal. But yeah, I thought that it really frustrated me. That whole tag team, they need to get away from the tag team battle royal thing, in my opinion. It's just too many people in the ring. Now, there were some good spots in it, but I felt like it was the same spots we saw last week in the battle royal.
Yeah, that's what the whole thing was. Okay, so we already did it once. Why don't you, the last two tag teams that are remaining will be on Revoluciones, and you'll compete with the Acclaim and the Ass Boys for the tag team championship.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, bet. And now you have this like loose relationship with Machismo and Jarrett, or Jay Lethal, Jarrett, and the Ass Boy, or the Guns, whatever. And so now what is that? Okay, well, Singh needs to be forbidden from ringside, and then I'm on. I'm about to shave my beards off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
I mean, don't do that because
yeah.
you obviously enjoyed it, and that's great. Like, I love that you did. And
Yeah.
I am a huge Orange Cassidy and Danhausen fan. I think it's fine that they're in there.
I just don't think he should have pulled double duty.
Well, yeah.
I don't think that was necessary. So, yeah.
I guess probably the more underlying concern for me is that the AEW that I loved and still love AEW, was big on tag team wrestling. And when they did this, I'm like, where are all the tag teams? And there's no story behind them. There's no push behind them. I hate to say it, but it's bad booking. Like, there's no emotional investment in this tag team division right now that I have. And then you mentioned the Elite and House of Black thing. I thought that was trash. The Elite are so much better than this. And I feel like the story, it's an easy story, in my opinion. Of course, I've never done it, but a story that you could put together is just, you guys have the belts, we want the belts, instead of just what they've been. They haven't even set up a story. They just keep showing up in black, lights out, lights on, we're here, lights out, we're gone.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden they're physically holding the titles.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, all right, cool, man. But I'm looking at Revolution and the time that they have, the roster that they have. Why didn't they set up 2 battle royals if they have, 300 wrestlers that they're trying to get on the damn show? Why didn't they set up 2 battle royals, a tag team battle royal and a casino battle royal for the show? You've got 5 hours, 67 matches. How many of our matches TK is going to book? And I mean, like, so now that I'm like critically thinking and analyzing the show, it doesn't take away from the fact that I enjoyed it for the suspended belief, the venue, the stories that they're trying to advance, the things that they're trying to do. I appreciated that they were trying to get all these people on TV with the second tag team battle royal. Hopefully Old Girl isn't too concussed getting the super kick to the cabeza, but what was that? The Kingdom? I think it was the Kingdom.
Oh yeah. Maria Kanellis.
Maria took the double to the cabeza, but it was. Is lazy the right word? Like,
there was definitely some lazy booking. I definitely felt like some very much lazy booking involved.
Yeah.
Now the women's match was a highlight for me too. I thought I felt like the chemistry there was a little off, and I don't know if it was their first time working each other, and maybe Toni Storm was a little hesitant because of Riho's size, which I was going to say,
right? Their body types are so different.
Yep.
But
I love Riho. Like, she is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Her series with Nyla Rose.
Oh my God! Yes.
Man, some good stuff there.
Yeah.
And I hope the fact that she got the win means she's going to be on TV a little bit, and we'll see her a bit, because I know Kenny Omega wants to do a lot with the women's division. and he wants to do that Josie style. So bringing her in would be awesome. So I enjoyed that. But yeah, overall the show for me was okay. I absolutely love the Bryan Danielson promo at the end.
Oh my God.
So it was bookend with
Yeah.
these really good promos, but I just felt like there's some carny, trashy, not very good booking decisions in between it. And to be honest with you, the whole road up to Revolution, I haven't felt has been one of their best builds for a pay-per-view. That being said, this card's going to rock. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that probably, I would say, 98% of the matches are going to be in that top tier, amazing matches. You know, you're going to have the House of Black and Elite. It's going to be a banger. Probably 5 stars. You're going to have, or 5 beers. You're going to have Mox and Hangman in the death match that you'll watch from behind your closed eyes. But
man,
that's
I'm gonna wish I was from Texas.
Oh man, it's
Artist. Artist is going to be beside himself. He's a big Texas fan. So man, it's
that is going to be a gory.
Hopefully, it goes better than the exploding death match. You promised me a kaboom. Because man, I am jacked to the nines for Revolution. I thought the show was really good. Rio, great showing. I think the pull apart exchange with the women. I like how they're getting more women on TV. The commercials and the promos. I don't know what Cargill has got going on, but she's.
I loved the Danielson MJF like inset that they did, where like Taz came out and talked about it, and JR and everybody and Dean Malenko talked about the feud between them. I thought that was really good. Yeah, and I love how the Danielson promo, and this is a little thing, but I love the Danielson promo. He didn't give MJF a word. MJF didn't say a word in that promo, and I was like,
he started storming down to the ring, and we were like, oh shit. And you know, you were waiting for JR to say, "Business just picked up."
Yeah,
and
I love the "be ready to fight because I'm gonna beat your flipping beep." I was like, "Whoa!"
Beep, beep, beep. Yep. Yeah. And I was listening to Busted Open, and Tommy Dreamer was like, "The F word did not appear on my on my television, and I don't know how you got a hold of that audio." And I'm thinking, bro, you work for Sirius frickin' XM. And when I work for Sirius XM, FYI, I'm available along with Jay Tilly.
Oh, yeah. Just sign us up. We got it.
Bro, it's going to be... I think Revolution is going to be a good one. You know, competing for airwaves, and, you know, you're not... there's no baseball. Basketball is, you know, not being played that late in the evening, even on the West Coast. I don't think in the evening. You know, it is a Sunday, so I mean, plan accordingly. Take the day off, whatever. I don't have to be logged in until 9, so you know I'll be right as rain. But I think the show is just gonna freaking bring it. And if I could get 5 minutes with Tony and say, "Hey, buddy, hey, here's a couple things. You remember when WWE retired the 24/7 title? Yeah. Okay, so that FTW title, let's go ahead and give it back to Taz. Let him put it back in his foot locker, back at home, and you know, let the experiment with Hook. It was fun. You know, give him some chicken sandwiches and rice or whatever you're going to do to pack on some weight, get him some reps over at Ring of Honor, NXT, Indies, whatever you're going to do. Get the women on the roster and keep pushing these awesome wrestlers and giving them the mic and not scripting the promos, because the promos keep getting better every single week. And oh man, I just got goosebumps. Just like
here's what I love. Right, you're so pumped to watch the pay-per-view, and since we started doing the podcast, I think you'll even admit that you've gotten more attentive to AEW.
Oh, dude. 100%.
So it's funny how pumped you are for this pay-per-view, and I feel it's one of the worst build. Like, now I want the streaming service so you can go back and watch the build to All Out, or the build to some of these other builds that maybe you watched but didn't pay attention to.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine how pumped you'd be if they'd have built this and there was booking and every match going into it you were emotionally invested in? I mean, I'm pumped too. I think it's going to be a great show, but I'm not nearly as pumped as I am, or I was for some of the other ones back in 2020 and 2021 because the build was so good. And like every match, I'm like, oh man, like I really want to know what's going to happen. I really invested in both of these characters and I want to know what both of these characters are going to do.
Right.
So that's awesome that you're pumped. And like now I'm like, all right, cool. Like when Tony gets on his game again and we go into the next pay-per-view cycle, I'd be really, I'm curious to see as they improve and you watch it more. Like the grin on my face is going to get bigger as you talk more about them. So
okay, so when WrestleMania hits, everybody buys tickets for the current WrestleMania, and then I would imagine the minute WrestleMania at SoFi dropped, the number one search was WrestleMania 2024. Where's WrestleMania 2024 going to be? Oh, it's going to be in Philly, the city of brotherly love. Oh, my God. Brotherly love. Uso versus Uso. Hardy versus Hardy. Brother from another mother. Whatever however you're going to book that, right? Then you have Revolution. You've got, when they said Road to Revolution, I was like, come on, man. Don't be dog. You've got billions of dollars at your disposal. I could do better with Road to Revolution. Get your team together, get your think tank. There's a lot of places right around the stadium. You have offices in the stadium where the Jags play. I've been in most of them. I was on the Gator Bowl committee. When I was on active duty, they let us sit in and throw our little, hey, what's your favorite team? I'm a Notre Dame fan for college. And they were like, all right, yeah, we'll send an invite to them. And unfortunately, they played well enough. They didn't end up in Jacksonville. But this season they did. But that season I ended up going to, or anyways, shiny object. But so they could have done so much better than Road to Revolution. But when you look at the card, who's going against who's doing what to who, obviously the main event, you've got the American Dragon against the wrestling, like nails on a chalkboard MJF.
Yep.
You've got the Ocho against Baby Rock, which when he got Jericho to sign that contract last week, oh man, I was like, man, this sneaky son of a bee sting. You've got Samoa Joe against Wardlow. You've got Mox against the Cowboy. And, I mean, are they going eye for eye? Are they, like, legit going to hurt each other? I don't know much about the venue that they're going to be in. I think it's called The Chase. I think it's where
I don't know.
It's near where the Warriors play or where the Warriors play at. So, I mean, there's not too much. But there's this huge roster, and it's going to be awesome. You've got the big tag team match. You've got Christian Cage going against Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, Saraya, and Ruby against Hayter. Man, it's like you said, the shoe. I like AEW. I was like, okay, cool. AEW's on. I remember when AEW would go against NXT, and I liked NXT more than I liked AEW. And now the current NXT isn't the black and gold NXT, but it's not the 2.0 NXT. But yeah, So all that to say, the show was really good. There were some production things. I wish they would have sort of changed some of the camera angles, not been as lazy with some of the stuff. But as a fan, in the moment, the show flowed really good, and it allowed me to sort of check out for 2 hours and get some good wrestling in.
Yeah, I will say it flew by too. It was a quick 2 hours.
Yeah.
It like, and it's funny because I watched it again. Like, this is my third time watching it. I usually watch whatever review and I have it on the TV.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, oh yeah. But
That's a good idea.
it was a quick 2 hours.
I think I'm going to mount a TV right here so I can see it. So
yeah, I sometimes get distracted because I'll look over, when Saraya comes out or Tony Storm. But like I said, my final rating on it was a 3.5. I thought they could have done a lot better. There was some really good stuff on it. Maybe I'll even go 3 3/4. Like, maybe a little more than 3.5, but not quite a 4-star show for me, or 4-beard show for me. Yeah. So maybe it edged out Raw a little bit.
Yeah,
man, I don't know, man. That Cody Rhodes Gable match. There wasn't a match on this Dynamite that compared to that match, in my opinion. So I'll probably stick to 3.5. Probably 3.5 for both. So
yeah,
it's funny. I'm tied on them.
Yeah, the Cody Gable match was awesome. The Cody coming in and saying, "Hey, that's awesome. I'm gonna be there too." Gave me goosebumps. But the venue, the fact that Hobbs won, the advancing the storyline, and just enough edginess with the promo that Mox cut. I'm giving it 4 beards, and I totally appreciate everything that they're doing. And there's a lot of work to be done, and with AEW, the referees are getting better, but the production needs to tighten up quite a bit. And so I'm slapping AEW Go Home Show with 4 beards.
Man, it's funny. I'm sitting here. I keep bouncing too because I'm like, man, I could justify 4,
Yeah.
but I think I'm going to go 3 3/4. 3 3/4.
Nice.
I'm going to leave it there. So
Hey.
a little bit better than Raw.
Yeah.
But not a 4 beard for me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which sucks because I'm a big AEW fan.
Hey, obviously you've got Triple B over your shoulder there.
Yeah.
A big, beautiful belt. So.
Yep. But I've got the WWE one there, WWE one there too. So
I think
shout
we'll
out
be
to
seeing
Miami
that. I like that one. I need to get a Giants one here. I need to figure out what I'm doing with behind me and figure out how to get some space between me and the camera. Because I've got some cool backdrops. Look at that, the America's Championship, and the most beautiful title in all of professional wrestling, the New Japan. And I've got some action going on up there. I'm not even sure who's up there, but hey.
Yeah, I got all my figures still in their boxes up there.
Yeah.
But those are all
got
signed.
Some awesome Cody Rhodes ones, too. I need to get a hold of.
Down there somewhere.
Yeah. So, yeah, buddy.
Cool.
So we got 3 3/4 stars from Jay Tilley. We've got 3 3/4 beards from Jay Tilley. Ellie Jair hitting them with the Quattro beards. Great show. A lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to Revolution, and can't wait to see what the Chase Center is going to bring. How many folks they're going to stuff in there. What the opening card is going to look like. Hopefully they get as many wrestlers on as they possibly can. They get a little extra money with the gate, so that'll be good. So,
yep, yeah. So as always, want to thank everybody for all the attention they're giving us and taking time out of their day or during their day, driving to work, driving home from work, riding a bus, a train, airplane, riding the treadmill, whatever you're doing, and listening to our beautiful, sultry sounding voices in your ears. Appreciate it. Continue to support us. We love it. If you want to support our coffee bourbon habit, we set up a Buy Me a Coffee fund. Would love the donations. If you donate, we will give a shout out to you. Please subscribe. Give us those 5-star reviews. Drop a comment on Twitter when this under this link when it goes out. Let us know what you think. Feedback is always welcome, appreciated, and taken to heart. We can't grow and get better without you guys and gals and your feedback for us.
Hell yeah. So, for JT, I'm Ellie Jair. Thank you for joining us here on our AEW review. So be safe, look out for each other, look out for yourselves, and we'll see you on the floor.
You've been listening to the No Shave Men Cave.
If it's pro wrestling, we're talking about it. Unless we see something shiny and wander off into the woods. If you hang around long enough, we'll eventually come back. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Fire off your comments and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at No Shave Men Cave. Y'all be cool, and we'll see you next time on the No Shave Men Cave.